Hey YouTube, again, I'm here. Welcome back to Space Engineers. Yeah, I've done a few things. I've deleted a previous video, so meh. What I want to mention is scale. Some people don't quite understand how big this thing is, and it's kind of beating my computer up, so I can't really continue. For one thing, the octuplets that are on here aren't supposed to be that big. The octuplet battery, hang on. See if I can find it. Okay, yeah, the screenshots that I have don't really show octuplets. But the best I can tell, the octuplets on an Imperial Star Destroyer aren't actually that big. I mean, they are, but the octuplets, as best I can find, alright, let's see. I'm looking at the actual model of the ship. Okay. So the way it works, actually, these aren't too far off. A little bit, but yeah. There's supposed to be 3 octuplets here, here, and here, and then the 4th one there, I believe is the best I can find. Or all 4 of them are right here, which means these are probably supposed to be 30% smaller to half this size. Yeah. Okay, I just found another image that shows all 4 octuplets are basically just here to here. So these things are supposed to be half this size. Great. So if those octuplets are supposed to be half the size, then every single octuplet on here is supposed to be half the size. One of the 2 things I want to mention. In the case of laser cannons, and you see all these added ones I've stuck all over the place, everywhere that you see one of these laser cannon turrets, one of these turbo laser turrets, and one of these ion cannon turrets, yes, I'm using these. I should probably mention that because I deleted my video. I apologize. I deleted a video, so I've added in a lot of guns. I'm representing these things as ion cannons. These as dual mass drivers and these as mass drivers, okay? Now, those are probably, chances are every single gun on here is supposed to be half the size, and those for the shield leech system are supposed to be like a third the size, but are also supposed to be special, so yeah. Concussion missiles, proton torpedoes, by the way, heavy proton torpedoes, so yeah. But here's something that I need to mention. The laser cannons, turbo lasers, and ion cannons, wherever you see 1 turret for them, there's actually supposed to be 2. Yeah. Turbo lasers, there should be 2 turbo lasers right next to each other. Laser cannons, there should be 2 right next to that, and then 2 more right next to that. So there should be 4 right there. Ion cannons, there should be 4 right there. And the same goes with these rotary blasters. There should be 2 turrets right here. But Space Engineers, also these are supposed to be way smaller. The mass drivers are actually pretty close to the right scale. The octuplets are supposed to be half the size. These things are supposed to be half the size. These are supposed to be like half the size. Oh, and also the concussion missile launchers. So basically everything that's smaller. Concussion missiles, laser cannons, turbo lasers, and ion cannons, and the rotary blasters are supposed to have 2 for every 1 object you see, but again, limitations of Space Engineers. And these damn laser cannons are everywhere across this. I can't remember what was in the last video or not, so yeah. You can see them all over the place, so yeah. As otherwise, I've added a forward bridge that I've mentioned before, but again, I deleted it. So that is the same scale as the Imperial Star Destroyer and the Executor and everything else. That is just a backup bridge. If all 4 of the other bridges go down, you go there. Okay? That's all that is. One thing that I've done, besides add a shitload of guns all over the place over here, add a shitload of guns over here, and a shitload over here, changing the engines to red, shitload of guns everywhere. Another thing that I've done that wasn't, I'm going to make the other video public again, so you can go check that one out. But another thing is, there's laser cannons and shield generators hiding. Look at all those shield generators. That's a lot of them. Shield generators, shield generators, shield generators over there, and somewhere up top there. So yeah, now you're wondering, what the hell are these things? Well, these 3 are actually the same ship. This is fully deployed, this is half folded, and this is folded of the Katarn Heavy Assault Destroyer, rather. The Assault Destroyer and Heavy Assault Destroyer. This is the Katarn to scale. And this is a Nebulon B frigate to scale. This, according to my friend, being half the size of an Imperial Star Destroyer, is a Viper class light cruiser to scale. Okay? That's very important. Mainly for the inside. I want to show you. Inside, a Nebulon B frigate to scale. Yeah, it kind of takes a little too much room. So I'm actually going to reinforce these to show more of what the ship should look like. I've been working on this. I've been working on reinforcing this. So these are just supposed to be gigantic support struts, and I still need to cross beam it. But yeah, with the folding of a Katarn like this one, you can actually fit 2 right here. And then 2 more here, 2 on the other side, 2 on the other side. So that's a total of 8 Katarn vessels that can be launched out there. Alright, so bear that in mind. And there's also going to be fighters up top. So, and I've heavily reinforced it. I mean, we still have a long ways to go. But, so, I wanted to say that this thing can launch like 24 Katarns and 8 or so Vipers, but unfortunately it's just not as big as I thought. I suppose if it was as big as an Executor it could, but this is nowhere near as big as I thought. So, it holds 8 Katarns and no Vipers. So, yeah. I'm going to have to go over the complete ship when I'm eventually done, but my computer's really not liking this thing. So, yeah. I'll catch you later. Hey YouTube, Gundam here. Welcome back to Space Engineers. Yes, I'm talking about this thing again. I know, but hey, I'm not done with it just yet. It didn't have enough guns. You know, this thing's supposed to be a battleship, but it's supposed to be a super heavy battleship that just crushes everything around it, right? I think this more suits it. Now, I've added some color coding. This is a good area to view on the what. The green that you can see, that will be all around, are turbo lasers. Yellow are concussion missiles. Red are laser cannons to kill fighters, right? It's not supposed to be colored like this. I'm just doing this for the sake of allowing you to identify the stuff. And as you can see, I've added a bit. So let's go over this thing again. At the front, 4 super heavy turbo laser turrets with a pair of hypervelocity guns. Going along the side, lots and lots and lots of turbo lasers with laser cannons. And I've added in concussion missiles. At each one of these things, I've added in some concussion missiles. These are heavy set ones that basically fires out the concussion missiles. Then they are supposed to try. Have you ever seen the Victory 2 fire a missile barrage? That's basically what these are, except for there's not that many per launcher. The only problem is the number. Yeah, basically each one of these sets, I don't think it's on that one. No, it's not. Each one of these sets, of which there's 6 over here. Don't forget the other side of the ship. Each one of these sets is about half of one side of a Victory 2. So a full side is 1/2. So that'd be 1 Victory 2, 2 Victory 2, 3, 4, or 1, no wait, 1, 2, and 3 Victory 2s. So there's not that many missiles here. Then again, I'm not sure about. Actually, I think it is more. I think like this should be half of a Victory 2 because I don't know. This is either a quarter or half for each one of these sets, and there's 12 sets over here. All right. So that's 6 of these things. So every 6 is a quarter or half of a Victory 2 Star Destroyer. But that's not all that there are. Next, I've added some more laser cannons, as you can tell. A lot more. Also, turbo lasers. You can see some turbo lasers, but you can see where the laser cannons have been added all over this bit here. I thought it was weak, so I added turbo lasers and laser cannons everywhere. I've added some turbo lasers running down the middle here because it seemed a little weak. And I've had these 2 big red splotches. What are these? Well, besides a whole host of laser cannons, kind of looks like a hangar door, doesn't it? Because that's exactly what it is. Go to the hangar in a little bit here. This is a reinforced hangar door. So yeah. And well, I don't remember if I showed this in the previous video, this one, but it's definitely easier to identify stuff with the color coding. Even though it doesn't look proper, it's easier to identify the anti-starfighter annihilation that this ship possesses. And yes, around the what appears to be the bridge, it seems well defended. But this is the real bridge. This is just a flight control bridge, and it seems insanely well defended, doesn't it? Insane sensor array. Remember, that's supposed to be a 2-scale Imperial 1, or 2. And this is a 2-scale, except for it has more shield generators on the back. This is 2-scale control bridge of an Imperial 2 like that one over there. So yeah. So if that's the case, then this sensor dome is pretty darn big. Add in a little coloring here, across there. So you got the a ton more laser cannons and turbo lasers guarding this, including a few top and bottom additionally, and on the sides especially. And don't forget the back. The back was barren before. I've added some coloring, as you can see. There's some more blue around the ship. And you can see all the laser cannons that have been added, if you can find them. I've added a rack of turbo lasers here, because it seemed a little lacking here. Of course, in order to get here, you got to go past all that. So, you know. Other than that, I've added in... Well, basically, it was just coloring and adding in some laser cannons along there, and a few on the front. Don't forget the bottom. Can't forget the bottom. I've added quite a few laser cannons down here, as you can see, maybe. Why? Why did I add so many laser cannons? Because fuck fighters. Fuck enemy fighters. This thing's supposed to be a super heavy battleship carrier. It's a battleship because of the size, not necessarily because of the armament. But it's a super heavy battleship, so... But it's also because, yeah, it's super heavy battleship and a super heavy carrier. It's supposed to carry thousands of fighters, multiple Katarn 6Cs, and a pair of Imperial 2s, 3s, or 4s. Now, I've made some heavy modification to the back here. Because I also did, first off, this color coding. The color coding that you can see down here, this huge red and blue stripe, if you notice, that's exactly on the top as well. And more importantly, this is supposed to be where it can link up. This is supposed to be the Paltek 2. The Paltek 1 doesn't have this entire section. It did have that bit on the top, but it didn't have this entire section here, which is quite a few guns, and as you can tell, a shitload of missiles. A few mass drivers, but yeah, there's some guns on there. There's a lot of guns. Whoops. There's a lot of guns, but it's the gravity well. That's the big thing. That gravity well. So by having that, what I'm saying is, if there's ever a Paltek 3, you just take something and stick it onto there. So the Paltek 1 is the ship up to that point. Paltek 2 sticks on that. Paltek 3 sticks on that. Oh, also the Paltek 2 adds some more laser cannons and stuff, and the 3 would do the same. Because it seems kind of barren in the back here, definitely along the side there and on the front, and around the what appears to be the bridge. But here it's kind of barren. So yeah. So this is supposed to be where it connects up, and as you can see, yeah, the hull's pretty thick here. This is not an accident. The hull is thick intentionally, okay? Now, remember, every 3, or rather, every 6 of these things is either 1/4 or 1/2 of a victory. So that's 8, 16, 24, 32, and 40. For one side, that's 80 in total. So that would be either 5 or 10, depending on what number I go off of later. 5 or 10 victory starters. I think this is an entire side. Why? How big is an Imperial? So that set would be oh so big, and a victory is half the size, or around half the size of an Imperial. So it actually makes sense if that were half of it, which means that there is 10, 11, 12 victories in the back, plus a 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 victory 2s in their full concussion missile broadside capability on one ship. And that's just these big pod things. Look at how many other concussion missiles, big ass turbo lasers, don't forget the mass drivers. You know, look at the giant damn heavy proton torpedoes, like those turbo lasers. My bad. Heavy proton torpedoes, of which there's a ton over there, and standard concussion missiles there are all over the ship. Okay, they're everywhere. A lot of them are on the bottom, actually, in the back here. There's several. So think of that. All these standard concussion missile turret launchers, these heavy proton torpedo launchers, and if this 4-bit here means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victory 2s with a full missile barrage. Don't forget those up there. You can see those 8 up there. So that's 6 victory 2s in a full missile barrage. Just for those things. And then there's all the other missiles all across it, and the heavy torpedoes. Don't forget that one back there. And then you get this attachment, which gets all this. 3 heavy torpedo turrets per side. A huge amount of missile launchers. There's quite a few ion cannons. Those other guns here, those are the ion cannons, in case you forgot. All those barrage ability of concussion missiles, and the mass drivers, along with the, you know, slaughter everything else ability. Rotary blasters, octuplets, laser cannons, turbo lasers, laser cannons, turbo lasers, more octuplets, and that's just the top. Don't forget the back has laser cannons, and then there's the bottom, which is swarming with laser cannons on either side of the gravity well generator. Why? Because most people think that the weakest part of any ship is back here, around the engine bay. And you know what? They're right. There is one thing I forgot to do. Okay. Here it is. These rings. These are the other things I just added. They aren't on the middle 6, but they are on the outer 4. Why? Gimbals. These outer engines are supposed to be thrust vectoring engines. They may not be able to turn that much, but it doesn't matter. You don't have thrust vectoring engines for main engines, especially since each one of these is supposed to be equal to an engine on the executor, for crying out loud. You know, it's not big at all. That's a lot of ability, especially if it can turn up to 15 degrees in any direction. As long as it doesn't impact smart systems, that doesn't impact. So the ones will turn more than others. So yeah. Also, when it does that, it can actually extend a little bit. So yeah. Because of that, because of thrust vectoring, the one engines are actually recessed in more. than the others. Those are actually brought forward more so you can fit the antimatter reactor. Because I'm pretty sure there hasn't been an antimatter reactor in Star Wars. If there has been, please correct me in the comments below. So yeah, color coding so you can tell the weapon system is basically the biggest thing. And a shitload more guns. Green, turbo laser, yellow, concussion missile, red, laser cannon. Turbo lasers do, anti-capital. Laser cannons kill fighters, and concussion missiles kill anything if the shields are down. And well, certain things are. Forget it. Because a lot of people say even if the shields are up, I don't know. At any rate, yeah. I'm almost done. One brief mention here. I've been reinforcing the hangars a lot. And the hangars now have 2 decks. That means a lot less fighters. But then again, by having a second main deck for a lot of the hangars, it actually means you can hold a lot more. Because, they stack better if they're sitting on that. And you can get bigger ones, heavier ones, sitting on a deck instead of hanging down. So there would actually be fighters on there, and there. So actually, I think it would cause more fires. And I've added a lot of reinforcements throughout, as you can see. Just everywhere. Don't forget the laser cannons in there as well, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot of fighters capacity everywhere. And by adding in reinforcement, it just means the ship's tougher. I also added a couple lasers there because there weren't any. I need some more. I got more. I'm debating what's too much, but this is super heavy battleship with a basically unlimited reactor. So yeah, I'll catch you later.